Hey, beautiful star beings. This is Megan Mermaid with your weekly YouTube Live. And this is the third installment of my Karmic Partners series. So let's start with what is a karmic partner because there is so much debate about what it is. So I want to be clear what we're talking about in terms of this conversation. In terms of this conversation, a karmic partner is someone that is a part of your soul group. It's a part of your soul family that has traveled with you from a specific star nation or star nations. And through your interactions, you've created karma together. Now, karma doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It's simply a reaction to the actions that you choose to take. And based upon the interactions with these karmic partners, we have learned through the expansion of suffering for a really long time. So now, what we are doing is we are meeting these karmic partners again, and we have the opportunity to neutralize karma. So, why do we want to neutralize karma? Let's go back in scope for what this is, what the purpose of this is. Let's imagine that reality is a game and you are God, we are all God, and we are all actors in this game. So we've all played different roles. We've been the perpetrator and the victim, and we've played out roles in archetypes. So, we've been the seductress, and, we've been the magician, and we've been all sorts of things. It's in our consciousness. And what we've discovered through this game of expansion is that now we have the opportunity to choose how we are going to expand. And we don't necessarily have to use the negative or challenging qualities of these archetypes anymore. So, what is the Great Severing? In the time of Lumeria, the experiment of Lumeria, consciousness wanted to know itself. So, in that question, who am I? Two separate halves were created. Who am I? The one source, mother, father, God, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the universe, it doesn't matter, broke up into two polarities, a masculine and a feminine polarity. Now, no matter what gender you identify with, or no matter what gender you are attracted to, you are going to embody more of one, more feminine energy or more masculine. It's very rare that a being is embodying a balance of those two. So, what does that mean for you? We are all keepers of this feminine or this masculine energy flame. So, our role as God in form, playing out these characters, playing out these parts, is to bring the balance back. So, what happened after the Great Severing? There were experiments that took place in Atlantis and in Egypt. And in those times, sex magic was happening in Egypt, and power issues were happening in Atlantis. So, the masculine and the feminine polarities created all of these dynamics, acted out all of these plays where there was deception, and there was betrayal, and there was trauma, and there was hurt. And we can't go back to what's already happened. We can't. So, we, as keepers of this feminine or this masculine flame, are now meeting up with these karmic partners to heal that great severing, to come back together. And so, every act of love heals an act of fear. Now, in part 2 of this series, I talked about how to neutralize karma, it means that there's no longer a charge. So, when you think or you bring someone into mind, you're not going to have this almost like obsessive magnetic quality of oh my God, I need this person. But you're not going to have this charge of oh, they bother me, they trigger me, they make me so mad, right? Because what's happening in both of those reactions, more energy is being created, and it's magnetizing this being to you. And if you're magnetizing a being to you that doesn't want to play the game, it's going to re-traumatize you both. Okay. So follow along, even if you're not sure what the game is, that's okay. We'll go into it in later series. But so Neutralizing the karma. Okay, it comes to a place where it's neither a positive or a negative charge. It simply just is this allowance, right? So, how do we get there? It can feel very challenging. And the first thing that I want to mention is that you can still have boundaries when you neutralize karma. It doesn't mean that you're going to allow someone into your life, especially if they've exhibited bad behavior or if you have intersecting wounds that are just re-triggering you guys. So you're going to have to know in your own sovereignty and in your own discernment how it's going to look. Sometimes you can neutralize karma in person. Sometimes you're going to have to do that on your own. But why do we meet karmic partners? They're all mirrors. They're mirrors that are reflecting back to us all of our positive qualities, also our shadows. So they're going to mirror back to you all of the amazing qualities that you have, but that you're not accepting within yourself, right? So maybe you think that someone is like very successful or very ambitious or very attractive. You want to notice if that brings up unworthiness for you because you feel almost like you're placing this being on a pedestal with that quality where they embody that and you also feel like you don't have that. Okay. And then there's also this aspect where they're going to mirror back the parts of you that are unhealed. So sometimes that can be a very challenging mirror. So I want to say that because oftentimes we internalize it if we meet a karmic partner and it's a very temporary thing, or maybe we activate each other and that person isn't ready for that level of conscious creation. So they may distance themselves, or there might be a push pull dynamic. Oftentimes, we as a human can judge ourselves for that and think, what did I do? What's going on? But really, we have to understand that it's bigger than us. We are keepers of a masculine and a feminine flame, but we are form, but we are bigger than that. So that the pitfalls, the struggle, the game, the drama, the dance of masculine and feminine energy is happening to all of us, all of these keepers of the flame. And the ego would have you believe that you're the only one experiencing this or something's wrong with you. So we have to keep putting it back into the eyes of we are God, having this expansion game where we temporarily forgot we were God so that we could play out all of these roles. And now that we're remembering that we're God, we can play out the roles in a good way. We can play out the roles with fun instead of suffering. So let's talk about presence, because one of the really amazing, amazing things about meeting a karmic partner is that you will have a cosmic connection. It will feel like when you are with them, you are outside of space or time. And the more that you have worked on your own consciousness, the more you can experience this and to higher and higher degrees. And when we are in this higher level of consciousness, it's very challenging for our ego to accept it and to relax. So, what happens? We get into our head and we ask, what does this all mean? Where is it going? Does this person want the same things as me? And what we do is we start agonizing over a supposed future, and we take ourselves out of the present moment. But the future doesn't actually exist. It's simply this now moment, and now, and now, and now. So if you want to neutralize the karma with a karmic partner, what you need to do is find gratitude and appreciation for the lesson, for the moments that you get to spend together, those perfect moments, rather than trying to make it be something else. Because what you're doing when you're trying to make it be something else is, number one, taking yourself out of the present moment, and number two, you're writing the script when you're not allowing that person to play the role. Okay, so here's what I want to go back to. You are as actors, right? There's a lot of stuff in the law of attraction community where it's like, make them obsess over you or say these affirmations to attract your specific person. And that goes back to the sexual manipulation that was happening in the Egypt experiment, where there were certain archetypes where we used that energy to try to create this transactional relationship where if I do this, if I give you this, you give me this, right? And that's not healing or neutralizing the karma. It's creating more separation. So, what we need to do instead is allow that being to play their role as you play their role and get curious about what is it that they're teaching me? What am I teaching them? And how can I be present in this moment? I talked about in this series as well that karmic partners all hold a key, right? They hold a part of our consciousness. So when we exchange energy with them, we are receiving certain divine qualities that they possess and that we possess. We're exchanging them. Okay. That's part of neutralizing the karma. Another part of it is gratitude, where you thank this being not only for all of the amazing moments that you get to spend, but when they trigger you, what they're bringing up for you. And so, the way to neutralize karma ultimately is to be able to look at this being and this mirror and recognize that their shadow, their light is also you. It's all God. And when you can look at another being and you can see their shadow and you can say with compassion, I am not afraid of this. I see all of your stuff and you're still God. It's still okay to enjoy this moment. It's still okay to be present. It's still okay to receive love? Those are the questions that are getting us out of this enslavement matrix programming and back into the energy of source consciousness. So, uh, I recently had an interaction with someone, and they told me that my laugh sounded a lot like their ex's laugh, and it was interesting. The download that came through to me download that came through with that was, well, why does a good laugh have to be uh, separated into one body? So this is where we get into this like quantum idea that like we are in a form, but like the feminine and the masculine energy is bigger than this form. We are part of this greater plan for source to come back to knowing itself through love, through unity. So how do we practice this? One, we no longer try to force or manipulate our karmic partners into being with us or staying with us or doing what we want in that transactional way. When we notice that we're doing that, we love ourselves and we forgive ourselves. And we also approach all masculine and feminine energy with respect. So whether it's the person at the cashier register, when you're at the grocery store, or your sons or your daughters or your parents or community members, like you treat every masculine and feminine energy with that respect. Every act of love is healing an act of fear. So this is where the karmic neutralization happens. And also in this recognition that there is no guarantees. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or who we're going to be or what we're going to like. So, our choice to radically embody the present moment with a karmic partner and allow ourselves to feel the joy, the sensuality, and the beingness of that moment, free of shame, free of this transactional awareness, and instead come back to the source consciousness, just really honoring that being for being God in form. That is how we neutralize the karma. So, it's not always easy, right? And we have to have a lot of compassion for ourselves and a lot of compassion for others. But when we recognize that it's bigger than us, it takes a lot of that stigma out of like, why is this happening to me? Or why am I in these same patterns? We are just in this dance of life. We are playing out the same roles, the same archetypes. And now we're healing those, we're cleaning those up so that we can create better, more empowered archetypes, better characters, stepping into our highest timeline. So when you look at this from curiosity, from fun, from joy, it gets to be a really beautiful experience. And at the same time, it will bring things up for you. It will take moments of integration. It is going to ask you to look at your attachment style and recognize that in the energy of the masculine and the feminine, there is this push pull dynamic at times. But when this is happening, if you can be conscious of it and trust that in these integration cycles, as the feminine, you're being asked to pull back and to come back to you, to be that overflowing vessel, then it magnetizes that masculine energy back to you when the time is right. So it's all about just recognizing our own self-love and our own worth of having good partnerships, of having healthy partnerships, and forgiving the past, forgiving the play of life, the lila, which is the Sanskrit word for play, that has already happened. This is how we neutralize the karma. So if you're interested in learning more, or if you feel like you're going through a karmic partner dynamic, I encourage you to reach out to me. I offer both one-on-one sessions as well as couples or group therapy sessions where we can dive deep into what is specifically happening for you, recognize the pattern, and learn how to clear it, neutralize it in a good way, and attract that healthy love that you really deserve and that is a part of our birthright here. So you can also check out my masterclass series, Starseed 101 Galactic Leadership Training. Next Wednesday, I am going to be doing a masterclass with the Pleiadians all about this topic. And more is going to be coming live every week because it's a whole thing. So I wish you all the best. I believe in you and I love you, and I will see you soon. Have a wonderful day.